Welcome back to Peterson Auto. Today we are going to replace the steering linkage on the White Trash Millionaire 97 F250 Power Stroke. So we have a couple pieces here. You can go ahead and see, there we go, look at that, what a pointer. So that long one right there, it runs the whole way down to here. That one's going to connect to the spindle, along with that little short one there connects to the spindle. There's your tie rod adjuster sleeve, and there's another one. That's going to connect to your pitman arm, and that long one there with the blue boot on it that connects to the one that connects to the spindle is your center link. I really hate to say center link though. I mean, that is what it is. However, as far as your auto parts catalog is listed, that one there on the end is going to be the left hand inner. This long black one with the blue boot is the right hand inner. This long one that goes across the bottom here is the right hand outer. Then that little one is left hand outer. So that's all tie rod ends. That's how the catalogs list them, it seems. So that's what we're going to go and do there. This one here, this little one, and that little one there are actually the same part number. So that did confuse me a little looking at the catalogs. And that being said, just to inform you, they are the same part number. I made a mistake of just looking through for the second one and then, stumbled across two different ones. Went and checked and they're the same thing. So one thing to remember there. Here's the old linkage, you can see. We'll get a little closer in here. Man, is that boot horrible. I mean, that thing is trashed. Yeah, that one's pretty bad too. This thing is rusty. Yeah, time to replace it, I guess, ain't it? So, right there, you can see that mark. That is where the steering stabilizer resides. Now, these do have factory equipped and non-factory equipped steering stabilizers. So, that being said, right there is where it resides. You'll see it hooked up here in a little bit. Other boot's pretty bad. None of these joints have any real play. This one's loose, but not much play. I mean, not enough to really condone a safety hazard, but it is pretty well shot. So, get it done, get it replaced when you have the chance and the opportunity. We're going to go ahead and we already pulled these off the truck. I'm going to go through the process here on how to remove stuff on new parts because it's all rusty. You're not going to see it when I'm underneath that truck. It's kind of dark under there, and I'm not bringing a bunch of lighting out. So we'll go through how to replace how to remove and then put the steering linkage back on a 97 F250 or any ball joint Dana 60 front end from a Ford. Actually is going to be set up exactly the same way. 97 F250 would be inclusive of the Dana 60 front end swap only. So put a boot under there. Now you can see your spindle's going to go right about here. Your nut's going to go on. You're going to have to tighten it down, obviously. But once your nut's on, cotter pin is then going to go through the hole. And there's how the assembly sets up. So you're going to remove your cotter pin. This is usually something I use, a pair of side cutters, nippers, dikes, diagonals, whatever you want to call them for. I'll grab this little head on this side with them. Not too much pressure. You can use a needle nose too, but I like the diagonals because they'll actually dig in, get a little more stuck ones out. And then you'll pull and it'll come out. First thing you gotta do though is flatten out those ends of the cotter pin. So that way it'll come out nice and easy on you. If you don't flatten them out, you're gonna have problems. So make sure you flatten them out and you pull out the cotter pin, take your wrench, get your nut off, and then you're going to get your pickle fork, wedge it between the boot and the spindle, give it a couple whacks, and that's going to wedge in there and pop this joint right on out. So I've already showed you in another video. If I can figure out how to do it, I'll link it somewhere for you. But I already showed you in another video how to use a pickle fork, so that process, you can go ahead and watch that video and get a little more information on it. When you buy these tie rods now, they do sometimes come with boots on them, sometimes not. A lot of time the boot is off. In this case, this one was. There's your boot. You have to go ahead and put it on. Push it down a good bit. Make sure it's seated around around that area there. Sorry for my finger getting in the way. Make sure it's seated around this area here after you push it on. And then on the bottom side, you have a grease fitting you'll have to install. Those are pretty easy to get hold of, pretty easy to handle. Make sure you don't cross thread them. I usually try to get as many threads as possible by hand before tightening them down, because they're usually a 1032 thread and very, very easy to cross thread. So now we have this off, we're going to go to step 2, which is going to be putting everything back together. I'm going to go under there, get everything in place, and I'll bring out the camera and I'll show you pretty much what came off of where and what's going to go back on where. So remember, this part here went to the pitman arm, that one there went to the driver's side, that one there went to the passenger side. However, you can see how I matched everything up to the same length before I put it together. It's going to get your alignment as close as possible. You still want to get alignment after doing any steering linkage change. You know, that does cost some money, being a white trash millionaire truck. And this here change only affects the toe, does not affect cast or camber. I may wind up having an alignment video here to come, so I can show you at home how to do your own alignment. And that would also include if you screw up and forget to put everything back, or you're doing just one tie rod end there, you take it off and you put the other one on and you go, oh man, I don't remember where it was. Well, I'll show you how to get it close enough in another video here when I have a little more warmth and a little more time. It's that you'll be able to see how to actually get it close enough to run it down the road and get it to the alignment shop and get it just dead on perfect. Okay, here now we have everything back installed on the truck. Bear with me as I am under the truck. It is 5 o'clock in the middle of winter, which means it is pretty much right on the verge of nighttime out. And I have my shop light under here. So, see on the right hand side, we have the driver's side tie rod end connected up. We have the pitman arm connected up. Yeah, a little cold out today and everything, so I'm going to move that adjuster sleeve bolt there tomorrow. We have the steering stabilizer back on. This particular stabilizer actually self-centers. So, you know how like a shock naturally will go out? This one naturally finds its midway point. So, this should be about right. I'm actually going to go through testing it tomorrow. What you pretty much do is turn it one way to lock and make sure there's a gap. Turn it one way, the other way to lock. And, you know, make sure it's not fully out on its travel. And then you're good to go. Now, as we move over here and I turn the light, we have the other tie rod end up in here on the passenger side connected up in. So pretty much everything is done now. I just need one grease fitting in here because the joint did not come with it, and I was not gonna return a entire tie rod end to Rock Auto so they could send me another one and wait another 2 weeks for a grease fitting. That does have a weird boot on it too. There you can see it's not like a typical boot. It's kind of like a rubber washer that crushes down. However, it seems like it's gonna work, so we'll put some grease in and see where it works and where it fails, and you know, go from there. Okay, something I couldn't show you on the vehicle here. It's gonna be the cotter pin. This is with it in. Get a good idea how it's set up there. Push it in from the back side. What I like to do is I'll bend one over the top, and then the other one I just bend down. If you're really concerned, you can take a punch, chisel, and a couple light taps with a hammer and dent that into right there, and that'll really hold it in. However, I've never had an issue bending one of the tabs over top and the other one down. It also makes it fairly easy to go ahead and get it back out. You just simply bend this tab back around and lift that one up, and it provides just a little resistance when it's coming out, but you can see it's still fairly loose in there, still wiggles and moves. And what that's going to do is that's going to allow a little less dirt to call up in here. At that head on the back side there, you can see the little tiny mark. Those heads on the back side will actually be so far in that you can't grip them. I like to leave them out just a little bit so you can get your diagonals on there. And after you straighten out this cotter pin, pull them right out easy. So, little pro tip for you there. Make sure your cotter pin moves and wiggles a little bit. That allows a little less dirt to crawl up in there and to make it easier to come out next time. Thank you for watching. Peterson Auto. Wrap up of the 97 F250 with the Dana 60 swap, or F350 of a similar body style Ford front end steering linkage replacement. In the future, we'll be doing wheel bearings, rotors, and brake pads on this same exact truck. Thanks for watching. Keep tuned, and feel free to like, subscribe, or whatever you feel like leaving a comment on. Leave a comment, and I'll be glad to get back to you.